What's up, y'all, and welcome to Worldly Church Girl Live. It's your girl, your host, Lillian Harshaw. Let's address the elephant in the room. What in the world is Worldly Church Girl? Worldly Church Girl Live is just like the podcast. Uncut, raw, unfiltered conversations with kingdom-minded people who are sharing their life stories, how they overcame for God's glory. So sit back and relax and enjoy Worldly Church Girl Live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Worldly Church Girl Live. It's your girl, your host, Lillian Harshaw. Hope everybody had a good week. I surely did. This week went pretty fast. I don't know if it's just me or if this is mutual, but this week just flew by. I mean, realistically, this whole year is flying by. I don't know if that's good or bad, but we'll find out, won't we? But I hope everyone's having a great day, and I'm really glad that you are here and joining me tonight. This is going to be an awesome show, and I know I say that a lot, but it's true like it is every other night, but this is definitely going to be an awesome show. I have a wonderful and awesome guest tonight. Again, y'all know me. I love to troll my Facebook friends and whatnot and see what they're doing in their lives. So I just don't accept people just to accept them. And I came across her page and got to being nosy and started looking around. And I was like, oh, she's doing big things. So then I went to her website. I was like, okay, I see you. And then I just kept being nosier and nosier and nosier. So I inboxed her and asked her, if she could be on the show, like y'all know I always do. And she was inquisitive, wanted to know how did I find her and all that good stuff like that there. And I don't know if I told her if I was trolling or not. I'm not really sure. That's neither here nor there. But I'm so glad that she is here. She is a beauty inside and out, and I'm so grateful and so honored that she is here today. And it gives me honor to bring to y'all Miss Meg. Okay, do you want to be called Meg or Megan?
I like Meg.
Okay.
Megan makes me feel like I'm in trouble.
So that was something your mother used to say to you. Yes. Okay, so Meg Smithson, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Good. And I love the fact that you were trolling. That's the best
all in
people.
I'm not all in your business.
That's awesome.
But in a good way. Good way. Yeah, I wasn't stalking you like that.
Well, I thought it was cool too because I wanted to know if it was someone that I knew or because I know we had like a ton of mutual friends. So that probably was part of it.
Right. And usually when I accept Facebook friends is I look at the mutual friends and then I look through to see what else they're doing on their page, if I can, depending on how their page is set up before I actually accept them. I just don't accept people, just accept them because people are crazy. So plus I don't want to see I'm going to say I don't want to see a bunch of trash on my news feed. So just saying, just trying to keep the mind as free as possible from the mess, if you will.
Yes.
So again, I'm so glad that you are here and thank you again for accepting my invitation. I really appreciate it. You, like I said, are doing quite a bit and a whole lot, and I want to somewhat dive into it, but not completely dive into it. You dealt with like eating disorders, anxiety, self-doubt, and heartache. Mm-hmm. And you use those things that happen in your life in order to help people. Mm-hmm. And you stated that you were trying to fit the perfect life. Yeah. Can you tell me what you meant by that?
It had to look all shiny on the outside, but deep down, the more that I tried to perfect everything and tried to do what everybody else, like the world wanted me to do, the worse off I got. So it was always like I felt like I had to prove myself to go and do more schooling or to get more educated or to find the guy or do business or just whatever it was, looks, all of that seemed to be the chase. And it was exhausting. The more I did, the worse off I got. And so that's when I started realizing it was more of a mental brain faith type of thing versus just chasing the next thing.
So was the pressure, was you putting it more on yourself, or were people actually putting the pressure on you?
It was more me. That's something I've had to look at a little bit, because I grew up in a house that both parents that were definitely hardworking people that gave back to the community, that were entrepreneurs, and I think they did expect a lot. I know they expected a lot from me, but it was never so hardcore pressure like some people do. It was more I kept putting it on myself. It's something I'm still kind of trying to figure out, like, where did that happen? Because I don't want to do that to my kids. But it just, I felt like something I'm uncovering a little bit more is I felt like in order to be loved or to fully be accepted, I had to work towards that, or I had to prove that I was lovable. And truly, that's not what God made us to be. So,
right. Now, are you the only child?
No.
No. How many siblings do you have?
2.
2.
One is 16 months younger than me, and the other one was killed in a car train accident when I was a freshman in college. So that was that was a big thing that I kind of had to go through.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. How did your family get through that?
It was hard. It definitely, like, I think sometimes people hear like, oh, you grew up in a household with both parents, they were married, all these different things, but they don't always see the other things that could happen. Like, death can really change your whole dynamic of your family. And I don't know, since this is the Worldly Godly podcast, I kind of went away from God for a little bit around that time frame, because I was mad at him. I was like, why would you do this to my family? So I was kind of going, I don't think I totally turned my back on it, but I definitely wasn't where I'm at now with my relationship with him, because of just the anger and frustration and sadness, and how could you do this to me kind of mentality. So
yeah, you took it personal, and God knew.
Yeah.
And that's the whole part. I mean, the best part of God's grace and mercy. We can go through those states and he'll just be like, bless our heart, bless his heart, and let us have our time, and then reel us back in. Like,
come here, girl, you're off.
Yes. You are right. Now, you said that self-sabotage was the drug that kept your addiction for perfection alive. Now, what did you mean by that?
So basically, I define self-sabotage as like, here is the thing that you want, and here's where you are. Self-sabotage is standing in the way. So any way that I could get in between me and whatever I wanted, I would do it. In some forms for me, I never really had an addiction like to alcohol or drugs or anything like that, but I definitely had the eating pattern disorders, body dysmorphia, binging, starving, just like very distorted ways with food at one point in my life. It was like 10 years ago. But then I noticed as I healed from that, it would follow me in different ways. It would follow me in relationships. It would follow me in business. It would follow me like anytime, like for example, anytime I would get up and get ready to speak or to coach, it would be behind me. Like, are you sure you're capable of this? Are you sure you know enough? Are you sure that you have what it takes? So it was always questioning myself and throwing doubt in the mix. So that became a form of self-sabotage. And now I can recognize it and be like, we don't have time for this. Or I have people that are in my corner that I can reach out and talk about that with if it's starting to come like hardcore.
Now, you just made a good point that everything that you dealt with then is still something that you constantly have to work on. Yeah. And I think a lot of people feel like that, whatever emotional, mental ailment, that you deal with, that once you're done with it, you're done with it. And people should just understand that, you should get over it, and that's it.
Yep.
And then that's not the case.
Yeah, no, it's that's why I like to say I help people get out of their own way, because there's always different ways that we're going to be in our own way. Like, our brains are very powerful, and they Like you can start to think one way and then it's going to produce a feeling, then it's going to produce your actions, and then it's going to produce your results, even if you're not intentionally wanting that result because you have a thought. And so our brain's always looking for evidence to back that up. And so having either a coach or having, someone that you love and that loves you to actually talk about that with, or just friends that kind of know and recognize when something's going on that you trust in order to share it with them, is something that's been really helpful. For me, also journaling or just writing it out is really, really helpful. Just like putting a name to it. I feel like I used to call out, like if I was struggling with something, I would call it out by a name, just so that you're bringing it to light. So you're not letting it impact you and like dictate.
That's smart. That's smart. Taking away its power.
Yeah. You're bringing that darkness into the light, because that's what to me, self-sabotage a lot of times is rooted in. What I found, it's more shame-based, and shame grows in isolation. So when you are struggling with something and you keep it in the dark, it's just going to keep multiplying, kind of like the gremlins back in the day. Like it's just going to keep getting bigger when it's introduced to the light. So we just watched Gremlins not too long ago again. So that's why.
So it's right there.
It's right there. Yep.
Let's talk about shame-based. Because I know we kind of tiptoed on it a little bit, that we wanted to talk about it. Why is it that we, and I'm probably guilty of it too, are so quick to be so mindful of what we think other people are going to think about us all the time? So we back away or get shameful of our past and always have put our past right in front of us, almost act like our armor, if you will, to protect us from what we can be or what we could be. Why do you think we always do that?
Because we as humans are programmed to, like, it's like back in the day of the tribes, like you want to be connected. We're made for connection. And so the thought of being rejected or made fun of or something is like throwing you outside of the tribe. And so the thought of having to do that is can be so intense, and you're going to have so much shame around it. Or maybe it's going to bring you back, like you said, to something from your past. Maybe you were in first grade. Like, for example, for me, I peed my pants in first grade and I had shame around it for a while. So if someone would have seen that and picked on me, I could have had shame about going out in public, or, if I did pee my pants as an adult, I might revert back and think about that.
Right.
And so we think about things where maybe we got shamed before, maybe we got rejected, or we felt like we didn't do what the people around us wanted to do. And so that's building evidence for some of the things that we don't really want to have happen again. We don't want to be thrown out of the tribe. So we hold back and we worry too much about what other people are thinking versus just being true.
So instead of just being true to yourself, you conform and be what you think everybody wants you to be, and end up being completely miserable.
Yes. And for real, I feel like there's so many, if you really look at so many struggles out there, and why we don't try certain things is because of that. It's really rooted in, what will someone think? Even if you think you're, like, I like to think of myself as a recovering people pleaser, because it was like deep, hardcore. I was like the chameleon that could adapt to whatever and be that person. That
used to be my sale tactic. That was, so when I used to go to interviews, I would tell them that I'm a chameleon and I can conform to whoever walks in the door. I'm just put a professional spin on it.
Yeah.
And it worked every time. But it was true to life too. And it's a horrible existence. It's a horrible existence. And I didn't mean to cut you off, but I read, like I said, I trolled you, so I know what you went through. So when you came to the realization of who you are, that's when everything started falling into place for you.
Yeah.
So I can relate to that. And
it's so funny too, because it's not funny, like funny now, but when you think about being true to yourself, like for one example, for me, and I know that you're probably like this too, because if not, you wouldn't have a podcast. But I don't know if you ever had to hold back some of your drive and some of your passion for what you truly love to do, and fear what other people who are not passionate and who are not driven are going to think of you. And for a long time I did that. I played small and I was miserable. And I felt like there was something still inside of me that needed to get out. And I let other people's thoughts, opinions, what I should and shouldn't be doing lead my life. And again, I was miserable. So when I started to break free from some of that, which was really hard, it was kind of like you're like an animal that's uncaged and you're like, where do I go? I've been like, I don't know where to go. I don't know if that's at all, if you can relate to that or not.
Oh, absolutely. 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 Oh, it's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying, but in a good way at the same time, though. Because it's, I mean, at the same time, like an animal that's free and you just like, I don't know where to go. So you just take off running, and it's a freedom to that running at the same time. So no, I get it. And speaking of that, you actually did one thing that I don't know too many women will be brave enough to do. Wedding paid in full.
Yeah.
And you said, absolutely not. This is not who I am. This is not what I need. This is not who I want to be. Deuces. I'm out.
Yeah, that was probably one of the, that was the day I grew a pair of kahunas. That was really scary. But it was almost like a ripple effect in my life. Now, granted, those were some ugly years. I'm just going to put this up there because if my mom watches this, she'll be like it was.
Yeah, tell the truth. Tell the whole truth.
It was not my finest hour. Years, but I called a wedding off that was fully paid for 2 months prior. Just a lot of realizations. I didn't really know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted out of life. There were some distractions in my life too. And I kind of bit the bait on some distractions. And then, I don't know, he was a great guy, and I know that he is married now, so that's great. But yeah, I think it's so important to figure out who you are, what you want, what you don't want, and to really not be living out of that chameleon life. Because if you're a chameleon and they're a chameleon and you get together and then you both take off the mask, like what's going to happen? And so
I have a whole bunch of fake babies now.
Yeah. So that's kind of one of those things. But then that stemmed a whole other journey. I was going to be a dentist, called that off. And I just went on this whole exploration, kind of like Eat, Pray, Love, but my own way, I guess. And went back to school, dated a lot, tried to figure out who I was, healed, did a lot of stuff. But it was good. It was great. Well, it was painful too. It's not all rainbows, but it was good.
But let's talk about the silver lining. You did find your best friend.
Yeah.
Your husband.
Well, what's crazy, so I had said to you, I was like, if you want to bring this up.
I was going to.
It all goes into this. So Derek, who is now my husband, and I met in 2006, and he knew, we were best friends then. We met in a restaurant when we were working at college, and he knew that I probably shouldn't be getting married. And when I did call the wedding off, I always had this crush on him, but he was kind of like a celebrity to me. Like, there's no way this is ever going to happen. I had really low self-esteem. He used to call me the ugly duckling because he's like, you don't realize how beautiful you are. At first I thought, like, what's he called me?
Yeah, rude.
Yeah. But then we tried dating shortly, a few months after I called the wedding off. And I was hot mess Meg then. And he realized that too. But he had professed his feelings to me. So it was like fireworks went off because I was like, wait, what? You have me this whole time?
Yeah, you lie.
I know. So we kind of tried, but I was scared because I knew I truly did have feelings for him and wasn't sure if he did or not. You know, it just kind of, like, again, it was my hot Miss Meg phase of my life. And so we kind of went our separate ways. I moved away to New York to continue school. He moved away to Houston and ended up marrying someone that I always told him didn't deserve him. And so we both thought that about each other.
Right.
And I dated for a while in between, figured out what I wanted, what I didn't want. But in the back of my mind, I always wanted someone to be like him. Like he was like my 10. And so I would always compare little things to him. And then years later, just on a whim, I messaged him. And he normally would never message me back, especially if he was in something. And so he messaged me back. And it was Thank
you. I got a tickle.
I was hoping it wasn't the gnat.
It probably is. Oh God.
But he messaged me back, and I felt like I would almost went into shock while I was in the gym because I hadn't heard from him for 8 years. And he messaged me back. So I knew that was a sign, like why he wouldn't have messaged me back if he was still in something. And so we just started connecting. I could not put my phone down. I felt like I had just seen a ghost. Like I feel like he resurrected for real. And we just couldn't quit talking to each other. Come to find out his stuff had not worked. And then we came back together, and then we've been inseparable. And I know that's like a really, really condensed version of it, but yeah, we got married in March, and it's just kind of crazy.
Of this year?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we got married in Kauai.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah.
I saw your pictures. Beautiful.
Thank you. It was amazing. I would highly suggest, even if you ever want to do a bow meal, fly there, do your thing. It was just incredible.
Oh, so I'm sorry. I don't know where this tickle came from, but it was so random. So would you say he was part of your turnaround of helping you find out what you wanted, what you didn't want? Would you say he was a part of that?
He's definitely a piece of that. I feel like I had already definitely healed. Like by the time we came back together, for sure. I felt like the day where we actually came back together and we FaceTimed, because at the time he was in Orlando for a leadership event, and we FaceTimed. I remember going from back in 2006, where I was really insecure, low self-esteem, doubted everything I said, to the day I showed up and we got to connect for the first time. I was so excited. I started crying, but I felt full. I felt whole. I felt ready. And I felt that for a little while, but some of the people, they were chameleons. So their true colors faded away. But it was definitely very much a freeing feeling, because I was able to be myself. And he saw that, and he even commented. He's like, "Man, you were like a different, like you're Meg, but you're different. Like you're so much
the new improved."
Yeah. So that was really awesome. And then I truly, like, all of it, I really feel it was so much miracle. Like the fact that we went that long and then came back together. I can't describe it any other way than it's a God's miracle. He says it all the time.
That's so sweet. I love stories like that.
It's funny when he says it, though. He makes it funny. I just say it.
Now, I want you to tell us about your program. I got to get my throat together. I want you to tell us about your program. How did you get started in doing that?
So I have 2 programs. Maybe if this is what you're talking about, and both of them deal with the relationships. So one of them is repairing the relationship that you have with yourself, and then the other one, Derek and I both teach together, called the Relationship Revolution. And it all stemmed from the things that I struggled with, and the things that I felt like I saw a lot of other women struggle with. So again, a lot of times your mess becomes your message. Becomes your testimony.
Right.
And so it's basically to the roots of what those really are. It's not about the looks. It's not about what you do. It's not about the person, like the people that you date. It all comes back to you and uncovering the lies that you've told yourself, the thoughts that you've thought that aren't true, the storytelling that goes in your mind, and really breaking free from those. Mm-hmm. And then as far as the one where Derek and I teach together is just basically getting really clear, either if you're single or if you're in a relationship, just getting you back together, because not everybody's meant for therapy. I'm pro whatever's going to work for you, but a lot of with couples, one person doesn't want to go. So this is a way that you can like do it from your home. There's a workbook that follows it. It's video based. You can do it separately and then come together, or you can do it together like a date night. Throw some light in with it.
Now, you also have a free kit, which I thought was nice of you.
Yeah.
The Body Battle Breakthrough Kit. Please break that down.
Yeah. So inside of that, I actually just on this recently. So there's 3 steps that I kind of dive into with that. And I break it down into the battle, the breakup, and the becoming. And so in a nutshell, the battle is more about like, where are you, maybe within your body or anything else that you're struggling with, where are you at war with yourself? And literally looking at it, not trying to put it under the rug, not trying to put it over in the closet and deal with it later. Like, where are you really struggling? And if you're already having trouble to figure out what that is, think about a day that has just not gone right. What are the things that you're telling yourself over and over and over again? What are you telling yourself when you're in the mirror? What are you telling yourself before you get on an interview with me? What are those things that are going in your head that then are starting to dictate your next move? So just basically, it's an acceptance of where you're at right there and realizing you're not going to be stuck there. Just that's what you're thinking. So now we move over into the breakup phase. And so the breakup phase is essentially realizing that you are the bully that is bullying yourself. A lot of times we want to put blame on everybody else.
Right.
And maybe they said it 30 years ago, but this is today, and you have it playing in your head over and over and over again. And so it's basically shutting that bully up, calling it out, like we said before, and realizing it's not real. And so then we start to move through, because there's a quote that I love. Someone named Amy Lotta said, the goal is not to quit having negative thoughts. The goal is to quit believing them. Wow. And I was like, "Ooh, that is so good."
That's facts. Yeah.
When you're starting to heal, like you said earlier, the things don't go away in my life just because I teach stuff. They still come up, but you have a choice. So having shame about something in your life is a choice.
That's right.
We have to constantly choose to keep not thinking those same thoughts if we want a different result. So we have to break up with those things. And it's like a daily thing. It could be an hourly thing, with whatever's going on in your life, and just choosing, like remembering you have a choice. And then the final piece of the 3-part thing is the becoming. So again, I'm just trying to use a bigger example, not just with the body stuff, because it can apply to me. But we focus so much on what we aren't, and in scarcity mindset, and what we lack, and all the things we don't like. And truly, this is like shifting gears into what we do already have, what we do want to become, and focusing our energy there. And what's funny, I always say funny, it's not funny, but it's ironic, or we spend so much time on those things and we get exhausted that then we don't have any time left over to work on what we really want. So whether it's a relationship, being more present with your kids, eating healthier, working on your body, going to the gym, whatever it is, we don't spend time there because we're so busy beating ourselves up. So we literally have to, as we break up with that inner bully, we have to focus on what we do want. And one of the biggest ways to figure out what you do want is from all of the failures, all the things that happened in your past that showed you what you don't want.
Right.
Like, to me, that's the biggest area of clarity, is just figuring out what you don't want from all those things. Especially in the dating world.
Okay. Yeah. My husband says it all the time. Once you figure out what you don't want, then you know what you want.
Yes.
That he says that all the time, especially to our children. He says that all the time. And it's true. And it's very true.
But a lot of times we want to beat ourselves up for having, made the mistake or the failure or the mess up or whatever. I'm like, no, that's wisdom right there. Use that.
You got a lesson.
You got a lesson.
Yeah, a valuable lesson for free. Well, it kind of came with a cost. It came with a little cost, but some tears were shed, and but those tears was a good purging for you to know, get that out of your system, and now don't do that again. So yeah, you're so right. One thing you have on your website I saw was the Ultimate Body Battle Breakthrough. Is that part of the same program?
Yeah, it's so the Body Battle Breakthrough Kit is like a freebie. So you guys could go on and like basically put your name in, and then it'll send it to you through email. With Bulletproof You is the course. So it's more about really, like I said, repairing the relationship that you have with your self-worth, and then becoming comfortable with who you are. So a lot of times in that, we do dive in more to just the body struggles, the self-doubt, the worth, learning boundaries. Boundaries is big. I love boundaries.
Now, you talking about boundaries as far as relationships, or are you talking about boundaries with the physical body? Just period.
Yeah, anything. So something that I never even realized that I was teaching boundaries until some of my clients were like, "Oh yeah, I learned boundaries from you," and I was like, "Okay." And then now I really love teaching them though. But I know more from like the body perspective, for example. So let's say you've lost weight or you're working on losing weight, and other people want to have their opinions about that. You have to put a boundary down to not allow that to impact your goals or what you think of your body or what you're choosing to eat and what they're not choosing, just different things like that.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But I mean it. And now with teaching like more like driven women, like with one-on-one coaching, we work on boundaries because if you want to reach a certain level and you also want to make sure you have a strong home life with your husband, your kids, whatever that looks like, or if you're wanting those things, you can't answer every single thing as soon as someone messages you. You can't let just anybody come to your house at any time of the day. You can't let someone just have free range on your messaging back and forth. You can put boundaries and make sure that you're being respected and that you're not letting someone walk all over you.
Yep. Very true. So I didn't even think about that as far as boundaries, as far as like what you eat and all that. I didn't think of it that way, because there's a lot of people, you run across people that are vegan, that are not vegan, that battle each other on the whole, why won't you eat this, and well, why do you eat that, and how to just set that boundary of like, leave me alone. I don't eat that.
Let me eat. Like Derek, he doesn't eat sweets. He's never been a sweet person, and people don't really ask him about it anymore because he just, he just doesn't. He doesn't like them.
Yeah, look, I'm about to be like, why not?
Why don't you eat this? Come on, just eat it. Or I mean, the same thing if you think about it too. So for someone that, let's say there's an alcoholic and they're recovering and they're at a party,
right?
Say, hey, like, I just want a club soda. They're like, what? You're not getting a gin? You're not getting a vodka with that? No.
Yeah.
And just being strong and knowing, that is something that works for you, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for everybody else.
I don't know why people have an issue with that when you say I don't drink. What do you mean you don't drink? I don't drink.
I'm good. I don't need it.
Well, I'm fine. I'm already kind of crazy. Don't need it.
Don't need to add to the crazy.
Now, another program we have that I'm really curious about is the Intimacy Accelerator.
I know. So we had to put a name on it that's going to be like
user friendly.
Yeah, but it's not probably what people think it is. But so for the men and the women here, I will keep this definitely PG because this is a very PG course.
Yes.
Like, it's not anything crazy. It's not sexual, but just to give some feedback, for women, the largest sex organ is the brain. So when this is intact, everything else is going to be better. But that's not what that's about. But anyway, just throw it out there though. But something that that we've done since we started dating is inside of that. So basically it's something that we do every single week on Monday mornings on the way to the gym. And we call it radical reflection. Again, we teach you how to do that inside the Intimacy Accelerator. But basically, you go through and you do 3 things that you loved about the week that you did with each other, or what the other person did for you, or vice versa. You state those, and then the other area is we call the TLC. So there's one area that you might need a little tender loving care in. And we say that so you have to around it.
Okay.
Basically, you're not being shamed for sharing something, but it's like a safe space to say, hey, like, I know we didn't really get to talk about this, but this made me mad, or go, like, you're in a different space to be able to talk about it. Or
right.
I didn't show up, I should have done better with this, or whatever it is. Or I wish we wouldn't have thought about it could be literally anything. But basically you take turns. So each week, the other person alternates, and they'll go first the next time, and then you go first. But what's really neat about it, and some people might be like, well, that's really simple. The simple things are the things that work. The simple things you do consistently are the things that work. And so what it does is it reminds the person that just got commended for doing XYZ to want to do that more. You're getting feedback on a weekly basis. You're also having time that is for communication. So you're not holding on to things, because that's what we see a lot with people. They hold on to these things that impacted them years ago, and they're still holding on. And so that time where they didn't take the trash out, they're lashing out because of the thing from 2 years ago.
Right.
And that's not
right.
It was just the trash. So it basically just allows you to be connected. I love it. It's something we always do. It's something we look forward to. It doesn't have to take very long, but it keeps you connected, and it also allows you to reflect on the week. Like, if you can't think of 3 things, then you need to hang out with each other more. Or you need to step your game up and do more for, one another, or carve out a time, go on a date, do something. It doesn't have to be
right.
But
something.
Yeah.
Even if it's not date night in your house, I mean,
yeah.
Be like, hey, babe, you want to, watch a movie and just me and you, blah, 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 blah. Pop some Jiffy popcorn if they still have Jiffy popcorn.
Yeah.
And just
well, it could be literally like it kind of goes into, I don't know if you do love languages or if you've ever done the love languages with your husband or not, but we're big.
I have not. My kids done it, and they told me, but I don't remember. They told me what mine was, and they told my husband what his was, but I don't remember. That was about a year ago. You
guys got to go in and do it. It's just kind of fun, because even doing it for you guys, you could see what your kids are. You'll see like, oh yeah, they do like when I do this more. Oh, they do this a lot more. And
okay.
So, for example, I'll say one of mine just to give an example of like a love language of mine is words of affirmation, and another one is quality time. Like, I love quality time. Gifts, they're cool, but they don't make me feel loved. They just, I'm like, oh, okay, that's a bonus. But so something that I will probably state this next Monday, a part of our radical reflection, was I had an event the other day, and in the morning before he went to work and before I started my day, because it was going to be in the evening, he just brought me into the kitchen. He held my hands. He's like, let's pray before you have your event later in the day. And it was such a powerful prayer. Like, I had tears rolling down my eyes. I started speaking in tongues. It was like so, like I was shaking. It was so, and I was just like, man, like those are the things you remember. It doesn't matter,
right?
I don't know.
Sometimes it's not the big grand things. It's the little bitty things. Yeah. And that was an intimate moment for you too.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get no more intimate than you and him and God. I mean, my God.
Yep. Yeah. So it's like when you then like you start thinking and you start looking for those things to be able to share, on Monday. And then sometimes you're like, wait, what happened this week? What do we even do this week?
We write everything on a calendar, everything that we got to do, and or that way we can keep up with each other's schedule.
Yep.
And it's just like sometimes the calendars start off with just the dates on there because it's on the easel.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, 3 days into the month, it's like, what in the world?
I don't even know what we're doing today.
It's like, well, I had no idea you had all this done, got to do, and I got to do all this. And it's like, okay, we'll pass each other. No.
Yeah. How long have you been married?
We've been married 3 months. Lord forgive me. 3 years.
Aww.
Yeah, we met online.
Awesome.
I know. It's my honey.
Because I need people to hear that, because one of the girls that was at the event was like, I just can't meet anyone. I don't want to do the online thing because they've been crazy. So if you're listening.
Yes. And I'm not going to lie. There was a lot of crazy ones on there. There was some cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs on there. So luckily, and the funny thing about our story is that he said something, and it wasn't real creepy, but it was creepy enough to where I was like, and I tried to hit the block button and it wouldn't work.
What'd he say?
Oh, he's gonna kill me. He said that. Oh my God.
Well, just embarrass him. It's all right.
He said that my profile picture looks like I smell good. And I was like, what? Block, 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 block.
So guys, don't say that. But if you do, there's still hope for you.
And the button would not work. And he cleaned it up like in the next paragraph, and while I was trying to push the button.
That is so funny.
So I was like, okay. I said, God was like, what are you doing? I'm sending you that man you always wanted. And you sitting there.
That is so funny. Yeah, I love stuff like that.
So when we finally met, I told him, I tried to block you.
It's like, she did.
Yeah. So no, but it was from the day we met face to face, it's just been, I hate to say fairy tale, but it's been a fairy tale. I mean, he asked my kids for permission to ask me to marry him, and
Aww.
I know.
No, but okay, so that's the kind of stuff people need to hear, though. Like, you need to tell it. People don't know your story. You need to tell it too, because there's so many people that want to keep thinking that no one's good out there. Oh my gosh, I have some crazy looking person outside. The dog's going crazy. Anyway.
Is that your dog?
Yeah, she's in the back, and I put her out there just so that this wouldn't happen, but people know about, and that's what they do. But anyway, I think that people do need to hear when people are happy, because everybody wants to just talk about all the things that go wrong in relationships and talk about all the negative. And then sometimes when you do have something good, it's almost like you don't want to necessarily share it, because other people maybe are. You
don't want other people to. You don't feel like you're gloating almost. Yeah. And there's. She's still mad. Is it a girl or boy?
It's a girl. It's because we have people coming to do tree service, and no one told me.
Oh, I see them. They just walk. No, you ain't gotta close it.
No one told me they were coming today. We were supposed to be here 2 days ago.
Yeah, but there's absolutely no such thing as a perfect marriage, but there is a such thing as a perfect friendship. I mean, one thing that my husband told me when we were dating, he was the first one to say, I love you. Look, I'm telling you all his business. He's the first one to say, I love you. And I thought it was kind of soon. And then he explained it to me in the biblical sense of what love was all about. And I was like, oh, well, when you put it that way, oh, okay, I love you too. And then as we kept dating, he said, you know what? I like you. I'm like, what?
Like, I thought you did.
I was like, I thought you already did. And he was like, no, there's a difference between loving someone and liking someone. I was like, you got a point.
So did he help with your journey? Like you asked me that, but did he help you?
I will say he helped put the stamp on my journey. Yeah. Because I was already, before I met him, and I mean literally probably a month before I met him, I had a ball out conversation with the Lord and was like, I'm sick and I'm tired and I'm done. And you're going to have to fix all this like right now. Yeah. And I'm just going to start enjoying my life regardless of what everybody say on this side and this side in front of me and behind me. But as far as a man go, you're going to have to send the right one because I'm done. And then I'm like, I'm going to step outside my box and we'll get on this online service. I said, you got one billing cycle. I said, because I'm not going to be on here long. And I'm out of here. I'll put a date on it. I said, because I'm out of here. I'm not spending good money on these crazy people because they're nuts. And so we met on that site. I say week 3, right before the cutoff. And I try to block them.
No, I love it though, but because I think that's another showing, like when you really do ask, and it doesn't always come like immediately like that, because you probably had to go through the phases before, but it can be in an instant. Like it literally happened like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we both were at a state in our lives where we both was ready for the same thing. Awesome. So that's why it worked out the way it did. That's why his family accepted me. My family accepted him. My church family loved him so much that I was like, they almost forgot who I was. Awesome. So it was great. It's still great. So if he's watching, I know he is. Love me some you.
He's kind of like, babe, I can't believe that you told everybody that.
Oh, he's probably in the other room like, are you kidding? Well, but back to you.
No, I love
I told you this show would go any kind of way. Who knows what'll happen? I was going to ask you, why do you think, what are the 3 things that cause people to self-sabotage themselves?
I think it is like not living in your truth. It is trying to fill a void. So if you don't have God in your life, and I honestly, out of all of them, I think it's shame. A lot of times, like that feeling of shame is something that people don't want to experience, so they try to escape it, or numb it, or fight it, or resist it. And so, something for me, for example, that I'm paying attention to in my life, because I said like things kind of move and you can tame it or you can find it, is realizing when I do see something and I do try to resist it, I'll try to go do something else to avoid feeling it instead of just sitting with it. Like, you're not going to die if you just feel a little bit of something that doesn't feel like rainbows. Like, just sit with it for a second. And then you're not going to be exhausted from trying to fight it.
Right. What kind of dog is that? I need to know.
It's a miniature pincher, and like literally they're cutting down trees, right? They're like cutting down stuff. Who does that at almost 8 o'clock? Anyway.
That's why it's live.
Yeah, guys, this is real. This is
life. This is life TV.
Yeah, she's like a little 7-pound miniature pincher.
Yeah, she's aggressive. Yeah. Is that the only dog you have?
Yeah.
See?
I keep trying to hit mute in between so you guys don't have to hear.
It's okay. It's all right. I'm fine. I'm not bothered. It is all right. So I know I've been throwing up your website, but how can people contact you?
Yeah, so you can go, like, guys, right now, since I am newly married, all of my stuff is branded to my last name. So on Facebook, you can go to Megan Church or Meg Church Smithson. You can go to megchurch.com. On Instagram, it's Meg Church LLC. It's basically my places where you can come connect.
All right. And I know I asked you what's next for you, and you said nothing, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
I know you got some stuff in the works.
Yeah, well, I thought you meant just like live events, and with everything going on, I don't really know about all that yet. But yeah, I'm just right now I'm focusing on just coaching driven women to help them get out of their own way, and then really just working on building up the courses, getting people in and having that change them. I think that's it right now.
Okay. And you said you're on Facebook, Instagram, and sometimes Twitter. Not that much, though.
I haven't really been on Twitter in years.
Yeah. So don't go on Twitter.
It may take a while.
Okay. So here are your last two questions. You ready?
Okay.
Okay. I know you've been cheating, so here you go. If you can have any actress portray you in your life story, who would it be and why?
Julia Roberts.
Okay.
Just because I feel like she's more real. And I mean, she was in Eat, Pray, Love. She was in Runaway Bride.
Yes.
So I don't know. If she's personable, I think that would be the person I want to portray.
That's a good call. She had to die. Well, her hair's kind of blonde already now anyway.
She changes it all the time. I mean, yeah, I think that would be who I would want. Maybe.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. You said maybe.
Yeah, I think. I'll probably come up with something later like, maybe I should have this person.
Be like, oh, I changed my mind in the comments. No, I changed my mind. Okay. And last question. If you could have any song be your theme song when you walked into a room, what would it be and why?
I remember you asked, I think you asked the one that I was like, what should I say? All I can picture right now is like what Derek sings to me sometimes. He's like, she's a bad mama jamma. Like,
okay.
That's kind of what
I love this song.
What I kind of think. But honestly, no, I know what probably would be like, because I just love it, is the OJ's Love Train. I have a tattoo of a love train on my foot because that was what took my brother's life. And so in my head, when I hear it, it just makes me happy. And that's what I want people to feel, the love and just to spread it and stuff. So maybe a mix of both of those. Maybe it'll be a remix.
Well, you can have two.
Okay.
I mean, one could be an intro. One could be like when you're leaving, you know. So whichever one, I don't know which one.
We'll do a mix of both. We'll just.
Yeah. You can remix it. Yeah. Find the right DJ. They can mix it up for you. Yeah. Matter of fact, Silent P's been on here watching. He's a DJ. He can probably mix that up.
You can mix it up.
Yeah, he can mix that up.
Whatever that is,
Well, I want to thank you so much for being on here. You were a complete sweetheart. I really enjoyed you. And please, everybody, make sure you go to her website and get the information on there. I know it's more geared towards women, but I'm sure it's geared towards couples. So please get on there, get the information you need. Mental health is very serious, something we all need to take heed and take care of. Oh, the dog snapped.
Oh, guys, this is real. This is what life is all about.
Did she jump on the window? What happened?
There's a tree right here. Yeah, there's cutting down limbs right here.
Okay. I didn't know if the dog jumped on the window.
No.
Like, get him out of here.
I turned the door. I closed the door so she wouldn't come in here to prevent this. But yeah.
She got some strong lungs.
Yes, she does. Sorry, guys.
It's okay. I like it. But don't hang up. I don't know why I say hang up like it's a phone, but don't turn that dial, whatever.
I'll stay.
Okay, just stick around. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Bye, guys.
Thank you, everybody, for joining this show. And tune in next week for another great episode of Worldly Church Girls, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Tuesday and Fridays. And as always, thanks for joining. You're one and only Worldly Church Girl.